Morning guys, it's beginning of day 7. So yesterday we got the front wall put on, and today we're gonna do all the rafters. So we're gonna go mark layout on the top plates and then start lifting some rafters. It's gonna be kind of another short day here, so I'm not sure if we're gonna get them all up or not, but we'll see what we can get done. So this is 3/4 of an inch short mark, is the 6'1" X this way. So if you take that and I go to here, you should be 6 foot on center now. But 8 foot, it's at the 8 foot mark on center, right? So that's what we need to do. That's why we need to go, this one needs to be 3/4 of an inch back so that now when we put the sheets, they all land on center.
So a common mistake when you're laying out for your rafters like this is hooking your tape measure on the very end and then marking 16 inch or 24 inch on centers from there. It's actually wrong because you'll end up, when you put your first sheet, your sheet will be on the edge of the 8 foot mark and not in the middle, which is where you want it. You want it to land halfway on a stud so that your next sheet can go from there and continue on with layout. So I'll try to explain this better in the next clip. So here's a picture to try and explain what I was talking about there. Sheets of OSB and plywood and everything come in 4x8, 4 feet by 8 feet. So typically you want your sheet to go from edge or end of your wall, or in this case the roof, and land on center at 96 inches or 8 feet. So in order for that to happen, if you were to just mark out your 16 or 24 inch centers starting at the end of the wall, it would mean that your sheet of plywood or OSB would land on the edge of the 96 inch stud or the 8 foot stud. So what you have to do is start from the very end of the wall or the end rafter, and then your first stud wouldn't be 16 inch on center, it would be 15 1/4 inch, so 3/4 of an inch back, and 3/4 of an inch is just half of the width of a stud. So a stud is 1.5 inches wide, so 3/4 of an inch is half of that. So once you mark out that first stud at 15 1/4, you then hold your tape measure from there, and then you can mark all your 16 or 24 inch centers on edge from there, and you would X towards the way that your tape measure is going, and that would just ensure that when you then put your plywood on the end of the wall, it would land in the middle of the 96 inch stud.
And then let's put it upside down so the peak's down. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Alright. You want me to climb up, Joey?
Yeah, I want you to climb up.
Just set it right on my scaffold if you can.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll balance it. No extra oomph needed. Now,
Hey, watch yourselves.
hold on. Yeah. You want me to get up there too? No, I guess you.
Something like that. You might need to cut it. That'll work. With the OSB.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
10.5. And I think that's what we want because 1.5 inches is 12.
That's exactly when I said I gotta move it an inch, a 1/4 inch. I said it like that was the number we wanted.
10.5?
Bang on.
Okay.
Here you can see us installing some short pieces of ridge blocking. So the distance between two rafters should be about 22.5 because it's a 24-inch spacing. But we found with those little gusset plates that hold the rafters together right at the peak, it was a little bit too much, so I think we cut it to about 22 3/8. Here we're using the come along again with the toe strap to pinch the walls together so that the rafters land where they're supposed to on each wall. So after pinching the walls together so that the rafters end up with the right overhang on each side, you can see here I'm just going to be letting the come along loose now, just taking the tension off. And that's just to let the wall bounce back to where it's supposed to, because the next rafter was landing too far outside of where it's supposed to. So we're just moving the wall in and out at the top just so that the rafters land up perfect. Here's another little trick that we use to make sure that the tails of the rafters end up with the right overhang. So what I did here is I just grabbed a piece of blocking and screw it to the rafter, and then you can see the blue clamp sitting there, so I'm going to attach that to the wall, the top of the wall plate, and the other side of my blocking, and I'm just going to pinch the wall inwards, and if it needs to go the other way, I can remove the block and use the end of the rafter to hook on, and then the wall plate, and it just kind of moves it just a little bit so that your overhangs are correct. So here I'm using the same technique as the one I showed you before, but instead I'm hooking on to the tail of the rafter and the inside of the wall plate, and this will actually put the wall outwards towards the rafter tail. So just looking for 10.5 inches of overhang. So here's some time-lapse footage of us putting up the rafters. We only got about half done the rafters today, but we'll come back tomorrow and finish them up. Thanks for watching.